Welcome back to another edition of Storytime. I'm your host, Steve Hatherly. Thank you so much for being with us today. My guest for this edition was born in a city outside of Seoul, Korea called Anyang. He moved to Queens, New York when he was just 12 years old. He further grew up there. He attended high school in New York. And then in 2012, he decided to audition for season 11 of American Idol. And he did, oh my goodness, he did extremely well there. He finished in 9th place overall. Shortly after, he moved to Korea. He finished in the top 6 of K-Pop Star. That's another reality singing show here in this country. He's written music. He's released music. He wrote a movie script on his phone at some point, which we're going to get to. He's one of the more fun and humble people that I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. Heejun Han joins me for story time today. How's it going, man?
What's up, Steve-O? How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing so well. Look at us. We're matching today in our pinkish salmon. Do we go salmon or do we call it pink?
Maybe we're meant to be, Steve. We're meant to do this for a long time. Like, what kind of day is this? Two grown men wearing pink at the same time.
You can say grown ass men. That's okay. This is a podcast. You're not on public radio anymore.
Oh my God, I'm still not used to this though.
Yeah, I have to get used to it too.
Yeah.
Once again, well, thanks for being on the show. Let's go back to when you moved to the United States as we get into it. You were 12 years old. I had always thought you were born in New York, born and raised, but you were born here and then moved over when you were 12. Mm-hmm. When you were 12 and you moved with your family, were you in support of that decision? Were you excited about it? Or were you like, oh, I don't want to leave my friends here in Korea and go to some brand new place where it's not my language, not my people, not anything, right?
Well, the fact of the matter is, when I was in Korea, when you're in school in Korea, you're supposed to do this 반장 thing, 회장 thing, and all that kind of stuff.
What is that? Explain, please.
So 반장 is like the leader of your group, so leader of your class. So it's like right below the level of your teacher. It's like a student teacher, we'll say. And back in the day, it was a huge thing. And I won an election. So I was like the whole school teacher student kind of thing.
Okay.
So I had like the most power level the student could ever get.
Okay. You were well respected in the school. You were in what? 5th grade at the time? 6th grade?
I was 5th grade. And I had that moment in my life. And my parents came up to me and said, well, Heejun, screw that, because we're actually going to States. And I'm like, well, we've been thinking about this for a long time, but never knew that it was going to be true. And since my mom's side of family, practically everyone, like 90% of the families were still in New York back then.
Oh, okay. So you did have a lot of family there.
Oh, yeah. So it was easy decision for us. And, I was just a kid who had to follow my parents, and eventually it became like the best decision that we ever made in our lives.
When you dropped into Queens, was that terrifying in those first few months, or were you just like rolling with it? Like, this is cool, whatever.
Well, some of the people know that the Queen is also known as Big China, which means you're not going to see a bunch of white people. This is like, to Steve Hatherly is barely the whitest guy that I could ever see in my life. Like in New York, when you go to Queens, you see a lot of Chinese, a lot of Koreans, but not a lot of, we call it American. So it wasn't more of going to America to see and to adjust a lot more, but I guess we're going into a more bigger city, I guess, in terms of that.
Gotcha. So you grew up there, you went to high school there, you were volunteering your time, you were working with kids at the time. And then I read that the kids actually helped to encourage you to audition for American Idol. How so?
Well, we're gonna rewind a little bit, and wanted to be a singer for a long time. So when I was in state, I had an opportunity to go back to Korea to have a trainee years. So back in the day when I was training, we didn't have like a proper class or anything like that. So I was just going there on my own. So going back to Korea, just hustling down every details and level of it. And I was just kind of sick and tired of it. And
so American Idol was not actually the start of your pursuit of a singing career. You were going back and forth to Korea to try to get something started in Korea.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So after graduation of my high school year, I have decided to go back to Korea and pursue my singing career. So when you think about, like, imagine like a trainee years of like YG, JYP, SM, you think it
those are all major
yeah.
music labels here in Korea, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So if SM is like the highest level of trainee that you could get, I was like the McDonald. Like, I was nowhere near that. And I hustled for most of my time practicing singing, which made my singing skills, I guess, in that generation, I got so much better at singing within that 2 years, just like bumped up. And I moved back to state because I couldn't take it anymore. Like 2 years of my time, I wasted it, I thought, back in the day. Came back and had no idea what I was supposed to do, and ended up going to this community called Mirai, which is a nonprofit organization for people with disability. I've been helping them out since junior high school and continued on, but kind of emptied out when I was in Korea for 2 years, but came back.
When you came back to the States after you had decided that you had, in your words, wasted 2 years of your life, and I've heard that before from other singers in Korea, that training in Korea to be a singer is hell.
Yeah.
The work is nonstop. It's almost 24 hours. If you're not sleeping, you're working. So when you had made that decision to go back to the States, had you made the decision that you were going to be done with singing, or you had just made the decision you were done with singing in Korea?
I was done singing for something that I don't believe. I think I never had a chance to be on stage. I always stayed in a room. Maybe it was just it was a really small room, singing for like 12 hours. Thought, never had a plan of singing again. I let's just put it that way. And just thought it was done for me, and was looking for another career, more of having like an average life. And I came back to state and I couldn't get a job because, I was basically had no degrees in any college, because I moved to Korea right after the graduation of high school. So my friends were getting all these good jobs and all that shit, but I was just like empty-handed, not knowing what to do with my life. So I ended up just going to the most closest community that I could feel like I am so much better than people around me, which was people with disability, which is
meaning better off, right?
Yeah.
Like more advantages in your life.
Yeah. And then I thought me just going there would have made me feel better about myself. You know what I'm talking about? But I went there maybe once a week to help out. And after that, I went there maybe like 3 times a week, and just ended up living there with the people with disability. And finally I realized that I was no way close better than any of our families back in that house.
So was there a specific moment that you decided to audition for Idol? Were your parents aware that this was something that you wanted to do? Was this something that you wanted to do, or was this like a spur of the moment decision?
Okay, so when I was working for my community, Mirai, since it's a non-profit organization, we couldn't, raise any source of money. And we reached out to all this local news station, and we were trying to, I'll say, market ourselves. So, we could get better food, better education and everything. But no one actually paid attention, because there's a lot of community who needs help from other people.
Sure.
And our 원장님 back then, our leader, was asking me, what can we do? You're the youngest person that we have as a staff. So what can you come up with, like, some fresh ideas? And I said, hey, so I saw in like a television where if you go on like a singing competition and then you make it to a certain level, they tune back to your daily lives, and maybe
oh wow.
And it was like dead on. Like, my back then the leader was like, okay, but who's gonna sing? And I said, well, I sort of practiced for 2 years, which I thought it was wasting my time back then. but why don't we give it a try? We're not losing anything. And she said, do we have to pay for the audition? And I said, no, I don't think so. And I tried out for The Voice for the first time, and it didn't work out. And I tried out for an X Factor, and I made it to the very first round. And I think I got eliminated on a very second round, which never beat on air on TV. And all of the staff and literally everyone thought, hey, yeah, we knew that's gonna happen. I mean, Heejun, but you did a good job. You tried at least, right? And I thought, well, this is going to be end. Let's just forget about it and moved on with our life. And there was this thing called American Idol happening in Pittsburgh. Back then, my cousin was going to Carnegie Mellon, which was placed on Pittsburgh. Said, hey, why don't you try for American Idol? And I said, yeah, right. I mean, the only reason why we tried out The Voice and the X Factor first was because we thought it was smaller than American Idol. So
yeah, and you did it to bring attention to your community center.
Yeah,
not to try to do something for yourself. You wanted to help out the people around you. That's amazing.
Yeah, and then when he said, let's try for American Idol, we thought, well, he didn't make it to The Voice or X Factor, none of that shit. So why would he ever want to try the biggest show in television? And I said, well, hell, why not? We're almost here anyway, so let's
might as well.
Yeah, might as well.
Oh my goodness. So Heejun, what story are you going to tell us today for story time?
I'm going to tell you guys about how the most depressing ex-trainee ended up singing in a national TV in the United States.
Your audition day for American Idol.
Yes. Very first one.
You ready?
Yeah.
You ready to tell the story?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So this is the very first day we tried out for American Idol. We filled out every application as we could get. We drove from New York to Pittsburgh, me and my cousin back in the day.
Okay, so your parents didn't go with you for the audition.
They didn't give a shit. Like they had no idea what I was doing. Literally,
they didn't know what American Idol was. I guess maybe.
And, like they heard of it, but they had no idea. But someone was trying out for it,
right?
And we drove down there. It was like 4, 5, 6 hour drive, man. It was a long drive. And my friend back then was, I forgot who she was. Anyways, 3 of us was driving in, just sharing our stories here and there. You know, it's going to be a fun journey. Not even like, you know, we're going to make it, but more of let's just go in Pittsburgh and have fun, right? We went in there, parked our car.
How many people? So are you lined up outside when you're auditioning, or because that's what they show on TV, right?
Yeah.
That everybody's in a lineup outside. But I thought logistically that can't be the way it goes. Like, how many people were there on that specific day to audition while you were there?
So this is how smart and sneaky I was. The very first the Voice and X Factor audition that I ever did, they always tell you to come by like 8:30 a.m. And you go in there, wait online for until about, I'll say dead ass, like until 3 p.m. So like 7 hours of waiting. They just need you to be there because they want you to be on the shot, like huge crowd, right? It's good if you get many people as you can.
Yeah, they need that for TV, right?
Yeah. And I exactly knew the process of it. So when you sign up for American Idol, they always say come by 8:30 a.m. or ish. And I told my cousin, hey brother, it's okay. Let's just get there by like 4 p.m. ish. You know, we're not going to miss out on anything. So we went to the very first audition, which was Pittsburgh. I don't know if you're familiar with the football, but still it's Steelers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And stadium is huge.
Oh, it was at the stadium.
Yeah, that was that stadium within our very first audition.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so lined up was done. Everything was pretty much clear. Went in there. signed up, came and like how I imagine, the literally stadium was packed with contestants, right?
But those are the people that have been standing in line since 8:30 in the morning.
Yes.
And you rolled in at 4 and said like, hey, is the shop still open? Sign me up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
And they give you like the number.
Yeah, right. You put it on your chest, right?
Yeah, 4 digits number that put on your chest. He said, well, you're the 8,002nd contestants that we have here. And I put it on my chest. And my cousin was like, hey, that number looks so familiar. And he drove me back. He took me back to the car. Look at the car plate. So he actually showed me the car plate that he drove us with.
It wasn't 8002.
It was 8002.
Oh, no way.
I'm telling you.
So it was fate.
He was driving that car for over a couple of years, like 3-4 years. And it matched that number. And right then I knew that something was gonna happen.
Yeah, you knew something was up, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then we went there. So the basic format of it is that there's like 8 tents of judges.
Okay.
So it's like 8 tents and outside, and people just line up. I'm pretty sure there were a couple of, maybe they said 250,000 people were there. 250,000, yes. 250,000.
So they have the main tent of like, you know, Randy Jackson, Steven Tyler, Jennifer Lopez. That's like the main tent for television, for the show's purposes. But then they have a bunch of other tents of judges who are passing people through. Yeah. That we don't get to see.
No, brother. We are far away from that. I'm talking. So Randy Jackson and all the stuff that you see on TV, it's maybe like a month later after this whole process over.
Oh, okay.
So when you go to stadium, 8 tents there, you go in there as a 4 group, you sing maybe like 1 or 2 bars. You're done. You go into the second round. And after second round, third round, and fourth round, maybe like a month of process, that's when you get to be on TV.
Oh, see, that's not the way they show it on television, right? They make it seem like people are just showing up and then going in and meeting these celebrities and then singing in front of them. Oh, so you've already gone through a month. Oh yeah. You've already passed through 4 stages of auditions before you even get to quote unquote audition for for television purposes for the very first time. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. All right. So let's go to that day then. That TV day where Ryan Seacrest is there and you're there and you're outside waiting, and tell us what that process was like.
You know, when you are not familiar with being on TV, you're so nervous. And the whole process, so even you actually made into a TV round, we call it, you made it really far because there were only like 50 people left in that Pittsburgh area. So out of maybe 250,000 people, you're top 50, that's huge. So you're in a state of mind where you're thinking, well, you made it this far. So if you don't make it, but you know, let's just go wing it. And, you know, we shot the video where like 7-8 different cameras are just watching you, and none of the producers or none of the people are expecting me to be good because just another,
because they don't know who you are at that point, right? Yeah.
And then I walked in there, the very first video I was like shaking my hand like that, you know,
really.
And Jennifer Lopez was like, "Oh my God, what do you think?" That is
so wait, fun. Did you meet Ryan Seacrest before you walked in to meet Jennifer Lopez and Steven Tyler? So you had a chat with him?
So all the 50 people who were made it to that top round get to chat with Ryan Seacrest for like maybe 1 or 2 minutes to get like a brief interview.
Okay.
And I did that, and I had no idea who he was back then.
I was going to ask you, like, did you even realize who you were talking to?
I had no idea. Like, I'm like, why is he talking to me? Like, I'm so nervous. I have to get practice, but why is he like bothering my practice?
Why is this guy talking to me? Yeah.
Yeah. And he was so nice, dude. He was so nice.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
He's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And
I actually toured the Kiss FM studios in Los Angeles where he does his radio show. But the day that I was there to go on my tour, I got into his studio. But he wasn't there that day. Do you know why? Because he was filming American Idol that day. Ooh. And what they told me was when he has to do his radio show, what they do is they build a radio set for him at the site of American Idol. So he can do his radio show on a break while filming American Idol. How baller is that?
That is crazy.
Isn't that awesome?
Imagine TVS EFM does that for you.
All right.
Yeah, so that's how the audition went. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so you walk in, so you're finished with Seacrest, and now you walk in, and it's the moment. This is the moment. And do you know who? By the way, do you know who's inside at that time? Do you know that the lead singer of Aerosmith is in there? Do you know that Jennifer, one of the biggest female pop stars on the planet, is in there waiting to hear you sing? Did you know who was in there, or did you not realize who you were walking in to sing in front of?
Honestly, at that point of the time, Steve, like, you don't give a shit, like, because
really,
yeah, like, literally, I'm pretty sure you had this experience as well. But from the point on where you saw a number that matches with your chest, the card that you drilled in for a long time,
okay,
you feel like it's something's coming up, like, and you walked in there. You see this, they said the most biggest superstar in the whole world. Like there was a moment where you go, yeah, but I really don't mind about this shit, you know?
Yeah, because you didn't really seem that nervous at all. But that matching license plate number gave you a sense of confidence that maybe you wouldn't have had otherwise.
I felt like someone above, is definitely designing this. Like literally, it can't be possible, because the very first round we call it crack. I cracked 3 times within that 2 bars, and once you
mean your voice cracked when you were singing?
Yeah, but they let me through for no reason. In the second round, who let me through? He was my manager back in the day. He said, you know, Heejun, you are very special. Just couple of notes down and you'll be through. Second round, he put me through. Third round, he put me through. And now we're talking about fourth round, in front of Jennifer Lopez. Now I'm in a zone where I'm thinking, if you're just gonna throw a straight ball, if you're just gonna go there and sing, you're not gonna make it.
Okay.
You have to give it a little twist. So what can I do? What can I do? And I thought about using my own stereotype. So back in the day when Koreans or Asians were not only known for singers, they were just known as like a nerdy kind of thing, right? So I walked in there, act like it's gonna be a train wreck. Act like it's gonna be another William Hong.
Oh, so you're acting like the shy, nerdy guy on purpose.
Yeah.
So that you could shock them.
Yeah. So the thing is, if my singing ability is, let's just say like 60, and people think that he's gonna be like at least like 5 or 0, but if you show 60, it's gonna seem like he's been singing maybe over 100, like as a number wise.
Yeah.
And I walked in there, act like nerdy. I'm so, it's gonna be really bad, like train wreck. And they thought it's gonna be just another funny video. I went in there singing, they were blown away.
What'd you sing?
I sang "How Am I Supposed to Live Without You?"
Michael Bolton.
But it was practiced by the previous edition that I did. So that was all meant to be, I guess.
So when they gave you, when you were finished singing, I just want to break this down moment by moment. When you were finished singing, did you think they're going to put me through?
Yeah.
Or did you think, what were you thinking when you immediately finished singing in front of them? Because their reaction was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think Jennifer Lopez called you like, "Oh, you're so cute," or something like that, right?
Yeah. I exactly knew at that moment that I built it up beautifully. Like Like I put their guard down so well that they had no idea what was gonna hit them. So when you knew that buildup was perfect, whatever you sing is gonna blow their mind. So after I sang that, they were blown away, not because I was good, but they didn't expect it to be that.
You know what? I saw you on. I was a huge American Idol fan. I don't know if I've ever told you that, but I saw every episode of every season up to a certain point. I saw you on television.
Yeah.
Don't say you weren't good. You were incredible. You were fantastic. You really were. I was blown away at that moment. And I was living in Korea at the time, so I was already cheering for you even before you opened your mouth. But I thought, wow, this dude is super good. And you did amazingly well. You made it all the way to number 9. So when you were going through that entire process, you know, you had that comfort level of the license plate. Maybe this is fate. Maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But was there any point in time, because you kept on making it, you kept on not getting eliminated. Was there any point in time where you stopped and thought, whoa, what is going on here? Like, do I have a chance to, I'm going to be in the top 10? You were the first Korean American to make it into the top 10, right? Because Paul Kim, I think, had been on a previous season and he made the semis, but didn't get as far as you. John Park was on a previous season, but didn't get as far as you. Was there any point where this hit you like, holy shit, like I'm doing really, really well in this competition that's one of the most popular competitions and TV shows in the United States?
Like, I never told this to anyone yet. I knew that I was gonna go far when they put me through after 3 cracks. So very first audition. Like, I do believe there's 2 types of audition that happens. Like, if you make through an actual audition, but it doesn't show you on TV, you don't know if you made it through. So you have to go through an actual audition and like the producer audition, you know, back in like a studio or something like that. But the fact is, the producer back in the day, Nigel, his name's Nigel, he loved me. And he loved me. So before we went into like a live show, you know, when there's like a Hollywood round, a Las Vegas round, I had my own camera crew following me around because they wanted a moment from me, literally. And I had to milk it because I wasn't confident enough to just battle only by the singing skills. And it definitely showed in a live show, because when you go to live show, all you got to show is your, you know, your singing ability, and then I would turn it off. And
you were teamed up with Philip Phillips for a lot of the show, or at least the front part of the show. And Philip Phillips went on. He won, did he not?
He won the whole thing. Yeah.
He was the winner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were teamed up in a group, which was easy at times and hard at times. But was that a little bit easier? Was that like a comfort blanket? Because you and Philip Phillips got along really, really well, right?
So this is like a continue on from like the number plate. Philip Phillips first approached me on a very first day of Hollywood round. So there were 80 or 100 people left, just going crazy. And Philip just came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to team up?" For no reason. And eventually he won the whole thing. Yeah. So like, where's the cameras going to be, right? So yeah, right. It was literally just all meant to be. Yeah. Now you think about it. Yeah.
Unbelievable. On the day that you got eliminated, were you heartbroken? Were you appreciative for the opportunity that you had been given to make it into the top 10? Is incredible. You got eliminated at 9. How were you feeling on that particular day?
Like, literally, I felt like nothing was done by me up to that point. It was my singing skill. It was me being smart. I thought it was just meant to be. And if it was top 9, top 8, if that's the place there where I have to leave, I had no problem, because I did believe, and I still do believe, that it was all designed by someone up there. It was not even like the single step of it, I think. Yeah.
It wasn't in your control.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
Wow. After American Idol, you did the tour with is that fun, by the way, to do the tour? Or is that like you're contractually obligated to do it, I'm assuming, right? Like you can't just say like, no, I don't feel like that. But is it fun to go on tour? Because you toured the United States with other people in American Idol, right? Was that a good time, or was that like, I don't want to be here?
It's really ironic. So every time I go to sleep, even still today, I always just think, if I can go back to the time and really enjoy it, I would have go back with a heartbeat. But back in the day when I was touring, it was horrible time.
Exhausting.
Yeah, exhausting. But arena tour with like really, really top-notch staff, top hotels, literally 40 different cities within 3 months going around the United States is exhausting. But if they ask me again,
you're living the life of a rock star.
Yeah.
And months before, you were in Queens at your community center going, what the F am I going to do with my life?
Exactly.
And now here you are performing in stadiums. And then afterwards, you sang God Bless America at a New York Mets game.
Mets season opener, since the season end of the season, open season, both, and went to Dodgers game too and sang that too. Yeah.
Wow, unbelievable. Oh, you sang at Dodger Stadium too? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
What did that feel like, singing in front of how many? That's a packed stadium at the Mets game, and it's packed in LA. What does that feel like to sing the national anthem or God Bless America at a baseball stadium?
Well, when you go to Mets Stadium, well, we're not really an amazing team, but we do have a beautiful stadium. And as a grown-up kid who lived in New York, we always ended up getting like the nosebleed seat, if you stay up a lot.
Sure.
And from that point, to be in the center of the stadium and singing, and all of your families and friends are watching, it's just amazing, dude. They really.
I mean, I bet even to just see the field, like to be down on the field would be incredible.
Yeah.
But to sing in front of all those people would be an unbelievable. You've had some experiences that the majority of people on planet Earth will never, ever, ever get to have. And they won't ever know what that feels like. But you felt it. You did it. That's incredible.
Yeah. Another experience that I had was meeting with Barack Obama.
What? I've never heard about this.
So I went to Washington for some kind of event. I don't really remember that, but I sang like the national anthem, and Obama showed up. So we took a picture together.
That's cool.
He was a speaker. Yeah.
By the way, what's it like to sing in front of Steven Tyler and Jennifer Lopez? To just stand feet away from them, have them look at you, and just sing for them? What's that like?
I really was not nervous at all, but you could feel like if my training year was a little longer, I could have done so much more. Like back in the day when I thought it was just waste my time for 2 years singing, just practicing, all the source that I actually got from the training years was fully used on that competition.
Yeah.
So I knew my level of what you would call it, like a strength bar was decreasing really dramatically.
Yeah.
So I was really worried about that too. But that's where the top 9 is where I should be.
Incredible. What was it like to do the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, by the way?
No, back then I thought, hey, you look really tired was really rude thing in States.
Okay.
But I had no idea that it was a bad thing in State. So I told them, hey, Jay, you look really bad. Are you okay? You look really tired. And he says, well, I look like this every time. So
unbelievable. You miss it? Yeah. You said that if you had a chance to go back and do it again, you would.
I miss me being fearless. I miss me being unrealistic. I miss me being just youthful, like not thinking about tomorrow. I had no idea what was going on, but I exactly knew that I was going to really, really miss this moment for sure.
Has that changed now? Your fearlessness is gone?
So back then I had literally nothing. I had no family to take care of. Like I had no money or anything. But now I have a little bit of money, little bit of a fame, little bit of here and there. Now you're thinking about, what if I lose this kind of thing? So you become more careful, I think. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, like I said, you've had some incredible experiences. How's the movie script going, by the way? Because the last time we talked about this, you wrote a movie script, an entire movie on your iPhone. Yeah. And then the last time we talked, I think you told me it got picked up by a studio. They were going to make the movie. Did that ever? How'd that go?
So it got picked up, but like every studios like that, it got pushed back because of the corona. And I ended up writing more scripts, and I can't really tell you now, but bigger one is on the way.
Really?
Yeah. And I wrote another story, and it's gonna be as a book within it this year, near like a Christmas season, as a gift.
Wow.
And I released another book which became a bestseller.
What? So, you know what I love about you?
Because I'm sexy.
Because I've known you for a long time now. And with talking with you for 45 minutes today, there are so many cool things that you've done that you don't talk about it when you just hang out with people on a regular basis. And I love that about you, because that's humility. A lot of people would brag about the time they met Barack Obama, and a lot of people would brag about the time that they sang at Dodger Stadium, or they would brag about the books that they've written or the movie scripts. You don't at all, ever. I have to look it up on Wikipedia, for God's sake, to find out exactly all the amazing things that you've done. I like that about you. I think, though, that you should be a little bit less humble about yourself for all the cool things that you do, because it's awesome, and you should celebrate those things.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. But I honestly think, Steve, like, it really well, too, but none of the things that I have done is done by me, I will say, because everything was pretty much planned. And even in life forth, I do believe if we put our faith in it, then it's gonna put us in the right direction.
Incredible talent. Han Heejun, thanks so much for doing story time with me. It was great. It was fun. Did you have a good time?
Thank you, Steve. I miss you, buddy.
Write me a part in your movie. I've been bugging you to do that for years. You agreed the one time. I was going to be a Russian astronaut, was I not?
Oh my God, yeah. The bolt guy.
I was going to be changing bolts for a door on the space station. And then after that, you wouldn't take my calls. So I guess I wasn't big enough for the movie.
Well, you still have that, little bit of a Canadian face in your stuff.
Okay. I've got to work on that. Huh?
Yes.
Heejun, that was so awesome, man. Thanks for doing story time. I hope you can come back again someday.
Thank you. Love you, Steve.
Love you too, buddy. I hope you enjoyed my interview with Han Heejun. He's such a cool dude and such an incredible story. I can't imagine going from sitting with your head in your hands thinking, what am I going to do with my life, to finishing 9th on American Idol, to touring with American Idol, to singing in Shea Stadium for the Mets, to singing in Dodger Stadium for the Dodgers, and meeting Barack Obama and all those incredible things that happened to him. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Don't forget, hit like, hit subscribe. Please do share it and leave a comment below, and we'll see you for the next episode.